What's going on, guys? Your boy Fluff here. Today, as promised, we're going to bring you a brand new T13 GR70 Plus Speedfarm setup. This is using the Pestilence set. This thing is a ton of fun to play. You have razor teeth just flying across the screen in absolutely every direction. It's almost like UE Demon Hunter made sweet, sweet love to a Marauder Demon Hunter. I think you guys are going to love it. It's a ton of fun to play. So without further ado, let's get into the Razor Teeth Necromancer. So a quick caveat before we get into the build, guys. This is PTR, so everything on here is subject to change. We will keep the Diablo fans guide up to date with the changes. If something gets a buff or something gets nerfed, we'll keep the guide up to date. And of course, if they change enough things, we will probably just redo the guide. So again, this build relies on the Pestilence setup. And again, guys, I will try to say Pestilence and not Pestilence, but the emphasis on the wrong syllable. Now, if you guys haven't watched our PTR video, definitely go give that a look. See everything that changed for the Necromancer. But one of the changes we saw was a change to the 6-piece Pestilence set, which says each corpse you consume grants an empowered spear, increases damage to your bone spear by 3000%. That's the same. In addition, corpse lance and corpse explosion damage is increased by 1500%. So obviously, with how powerful corpse lance is, you guys are probably gonna be thinking, oh, this is a corpse lance build, it's so OP. And that's actually not what this is, guys. And although corpse lance is doing a ton of damage in this setup, it's not what the build is revolved around. Our actual main damage dealer here is Bone Spear, believe it or not. There is a super powerful build built around the Corpse Lance on the Pestilence set. We are going to get that out to you guys as fast as we can. But we took a vote in stream yesterday and people wanted this guide first. It is a ton of fun to play. So let's get into the skills. This build revolves around the secondary skill Bone Spear with Teeth, which says launch razor sharp teeth that deal 300% damage as physical to enemies in front of you. So it's basically like I said, a UE Demon Hunter. You just have this crazy AoE frontal cone. Now that deals 300% damage by itself. Now we're juicing this up with the Pestilence 6-piece. As you guys know, each corpse you consume grants an empowered Bone Spear charge that increases the damage of your next Bone Spear by 3000%. So boom, 3000% damage modifier just as long as you're consuming corpses. And you're gonna have a ton of these stacks in this build, guys. The second way we're juicing this up is with Scythe of the Cycle, which says your secondary skills deal 400% additional damage while bone armor is active, but reduces the duration of bone armor by 4 seconds. And of course, it is a Bone Spear build, so we're using Maltorius's Petrified Spike in the cube. Bone Spear now costs 40 essence and deals 700% increased damage. Another change from PTR, guys. You get 700% here, 400% Scythe of the Cycle, 3000% on the Pestilence set. Plus we're using Crit with a Sentence, obviously, so that's another 100%. Plus if you proc a stun or a freeze, you're gonna get triple that damage. And then the coolest way we're juicing this up is by using the Haunted Vision neck with Simulacrum. Now Haunted Vision, as you guys know, it makes Simulacrum last twice as long and consume 5% of your max life every second. And in this setup, of course, we're going to use Simulacrum and we're going to choose the Blood and Bone rune. Now what this does is you basically create 2 clones of yourself. When you get the double duration from Haunted Visions, you're only getting 20 seconds as opposed to 30 seconds. But this thing is crazy, guys. So we're going to copy 2 clones of ourselves and just have crazy spears just going off in every direction. It's amazingly fun. And the last way we're kind of juicing up Bone Spear is with the passive Serration, which basically just says Bone Spear gets 1% increased damage for every 1.5 yards away from you, up to a maximum of 20%. Basically at 30 yards, which isn't that far, guys, you get a sweet 20% damage multiplier. Damage is damage. Now, as far as other skills, we are using Blood Rush with Molting. Again, this is a pretty important rune choice because at the start of the Rift, you're not going to have any of these stacks of empowered Bone Spear. You're going to have to dash first thing when you get in a Rift and devour that corpse to get at least 1 charge of empowered Bone Spear, which you can then use to kill trash. We're of course using Devour with Cannibalize. Devouring not only gives us a ton of essence and a ton of life, but also utilizes the 2-piece Pestilence set, which says each corpse you consume fires a corpse lance at a nearby enemy. And that is a significant way we're doing damage here, guys. We are using the Corpse Whisper Pauldrons, which says corpse lance damage is increased by up to 30% for 3 seconds when you consume a corpse. Every single time you consume a corpse with Devour, you fire off a corpse lance. And since we're devouring corpses like crazy, this 30% damage bonus is like always going to be up, which ends up being 600% at full stacks. The corpse lance damage you're actually dealing here is no slouch. Now, a lot of you guys know Land of the Dead and Devour have crazy synergy. Land of the Dead basically lets you cast corpse skills for free, so you can just spam Devour when Land of the Dead is up, which of course has amazing synergy with the Pestilence 2-piece, which says each corpse you consume fires a corpse lance. You're basically just non-stop firing corpse lances because you're non-stop devouring corpses because they are free for 10 seconds while Land of the Dead's up. So just to show you guys what that looks like, obviously I pop Land of the Dead, I'm spamming Devour, and just get jacked by these random corpse lances that I'm casting out from my guy, just because of the Pestilence 2-piece. And of course we're running a Bone Armor with Dislocation, not only for the on-demand proc of Crispin Sentence, but again because we are using Scythe Through the Cycle, and we need Bone Armor up to get the Scythe Through the Cycle damage bonus, which is that 400% damage bonus, guys. So make sure you keep Bone Armor up. Now, as you guys can see, a couple really big cooldowns on our bar. Simulacrum, 2-minute cooldown. Land of the Dead, 2-minute cooldown. Now, Simulacrum is technically only a 100-second cooldown because of Haunted Vision. Again, another build we're going to have to absolutely max out as much CDR as we can. So we're going to get it on the gloves. We're going to get it on the shoulders. We're going to get a gem in the helmet. We're going to wear a Vigilant belt. We're going to get it on our weapon. We're going to get it on our offhand. We're going to get it on both ring slots. And on top of that, we're running Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac, which says reduce the remaining cooldown of one of your skills by 1 second when you hit with a resource spending attack, which again, guys, is our Bone Spear in this setup. You're going to be proccing Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac like crazy, and really bringing down those 2 giant cooldowns. On top of that, we're using Blood is Power, which actually procs quite a bit because you're not super tanky, but you're tanky enough for, GR70, T13, absolutely no problem, but you will lose life, so this is a pretty good skill. For other passes, we're running Standalone. We have no pets in this setup, so this is an amazing choice. And then Final Service. Again, we don't have to worry about that secondary crappy effect going off because we have no pets, so Final Service is a great choice. Now, we can't really afford to run Ingyam in this setup because the Bone Spear damage absolutely needs Maltorius and Scythe Through the Cycle to really be able to slay mobs on your screen. If you drop one or the other, you're really going to notice the damage difference, and it's not going to be as good. So to make up for this movement speed loss, we are running the new Stewart's Greaves, which basically gives you 100% increase in movement speed for 10 seconds after using Blood Rush. And of course, we're using Blood Rush, so as soon as we put it around, we are flying around like crazy. This item is so awesome. Now we're running Ring of Royal Grandeur so that we can wear Stewart's Greaves plus the Corpse Twister Pauldrons, because again, guys, Corpse Lance damage is no slouch in this setup, thanks to the 6-piece Pestilence set, which gives you 1500% increased damage, and the Corpse Twister Pauldron, which basically gives you 600% increased damage, the Corpse Lance. Now for toughness, we have 2 forms of mitigation here. We have the 4-piece Pestilence, which says each enemy you hit with the Bone Spear reduces your damage taken by 2%, up to a maximum of 50%. And that's not too hard to do because the Bone Spear with teeth hits everything in front of you, so you get that 50 stacks up pretty quick. And of course, we get 30% mitigation from having full stacks of Bone Armor, which is fantastic. For legendary gems, we're using Bane of the Trapped, no brainer, absolutely the best gem for all classes. We're using Zeiss. Now Zeiss is actually really good here because you don't even have to have the mob targeted because you know you're going to hit it with your Bone Spear teeth. So a mob could be completely off screen and just get wrecked by your Zeiss Zone of Vengeance. Lastly, we're using Goguk. Attack speed's really good for Corpse Lance. Attack speed helps us fire Bone Spears faster. And more importantly, we're getting 15% cooldown reduction from full stacks of Goguk, which really helps us bring down, again, those cooldowns of Simulacrum and Land of the Dead. So we have Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac procking, we have 55% cooldown reduction, and we could get more if we had it on our necklace. Plus we have Blood is Power procking occasionally. And of course, Goguk plus Swiftness gives us 15%. So it's quite a bit of cooldown reduction here, guys. Now, a couple quick caveats with this build. If you find yourself running out of Essence all the time, it's either because you just gotten really unlucky with density. This build requires some good density to keep up the essence cost, but ultimately you can just wait out your cooldown of Land of the Dead to get back up and running again, so it's really not a huge deal. It just slows you down if you have really bad density. If you find yourself running out of essence with good density, you probably just don't have enough damage to be doing whatever torment level or GR level you're trying to do. The other tip we would give is to basically, just like the Singularity speed build, guys, is to kind of stagger these cooldowns. So in the event that you die, or in the event you get a bad rift layout, you're not completely screwed because you have one of the 2 cooldown that's really giving you a lot of power. Another quick note, with how fast you move in this build, there's nothing stopping you from running in, hitting them with Bone Armor so you can proc the stun, running right back out or porting right back out, and then shooting some Bone Spears at them. That will give you the triple damage bonus on the Bone Spear. You want to make really good use of this Bone Armor dislocation because proccing that triple damage bonus as often as you can is really clutch for doing good amounts of damage here. In the bracer slot, we're of course running Nemesis. Just like basically all of our speed builds, this item is just amazing. Not only are pylons awesome because they're awesome, but you also get a guaranteed elite pack, which is more progression, which just speeds up the rift so much. I can't say enough good things about Nemesis, guys. Now, real quick, we'll just talk about stat priority. Cooldown, again, in every slot you can possibly get. So gloves, int, cooldown reduction, crit damage, crit chance. Shoulders, int, bite, cooldown reduction with corpse lance damage. Helmet, int, bite, crit chance. You can get bone spear damage on the helmet instead of, say, vitality. That's just up to you guys. If you think you can survive it, go for it. But 1000 vitality on a helmet is really, really nice. Chest, int, bite, corpse lance damage. Belt, we want that vigilant belt because it's got the cooldown reduction on it. And then other than that, we want int, bite, and life. Again, guys, preferably on any of these items, you want physical in the secondary. But a big thing to note here, and you'll see this in the gameplay, is like somehow with my pestilence set, because I've become focused on getting like physical damage in the secondary, that I've foregone basically all of my pickup radius, which is awful. I've actually never really done this, and I didn't mean to do this, but not having any pickup radius is absolutely killer to your speed. And you'll see, like, a lot of times we have to go back and try to pick up a globe, and like we're right on top of it and we still don't pick it up. So make sure you give yourself a good amount of pickup radius. Legs, int, bite, armor, and sockets. Boots, int, bite, preferably armor, and then bone spear damage. On side of the cycle, again, the dream roll would be the best, which you could go attack speed, cooldown reduction, percent damage, plus a damage roll. On the offhand, int, bite, crit chance, cooldown reduction. And again, you could drop that bite and go corpse lance damage. And again, this offhand is just a stat stick, guys. So before you ask me like, how are you proccing last time? We don't. It's just the best offhand we have. On the ring slots, we are using Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac. Attack speed, crit chance, cooldown reduction, and socket. And then a Crisbin sentence. We have int, crit damage, and cooldown. I think crit damage and cooldown are the two musts here. And you can do int or attack speed. Basically whatever you can get your Crisbin to roll. It's a pretty hard item to get to roll well. And of course, you could replace either of these with Ring of Royal Grandeur if you felt you had a better one, but Ring of Royal Grandeur rolls pretty bad. On the necklace, we have physical, crit damage, crit chance, and socket. You could make an argument for cooldown reduction here instead of physical damage, though. And you guys will see, we'll post a build within the next few days that revolves around pestilence and corpse lance damage, and that build is absolutely insane. We can like speed 75s to 85s in 3 minutes. It's just OP. Probably should get nerfed, but it's kind of like the polar opposite of this one, because this one is based around your bone spear damage, while that one's based around just your corpse lance damage. And again, people wanted me to build this one first. Now, how would I improve upon this? I still feel like either on the 6-piece pestilence or Maltorius's petrified spike, that bone spear should get more damage. I also don't think that the bone spear costing twice as much essence is a good thing. I don't understand the reasoning behind that. In the spectrum of necromancer skills, the amount of damage it does per amount of essence you spend isn't that good to double it. And you're kind of forcing people into running Devour. And although Devour has amazing synergy with the 2-piece pestilence, you've also given us the choice to have corpse explosion on the 6-piece now. So those corpses are going to get consumed just to keep up the cost of bone spear. And then, like we said in the PTR video, Simulacrum is a really cool skill idea, but in practice it doesn't work amazing because, one, the Simulacrum guys can just basically F off and do whatever they want. It can be like 200 yards away from you before they port back on top of you. Their tether range is just insanely too big. And one fix that would solve a lot of the problems with Simulacrum is forcing the Simulacrum clones to stay within 10 yards of you. That would be such a good change. Why? Because on Bone Spear, you want to be as far away from the mob as possible because you're probably going to be using Zais. And so the Simulacrum guys being right up in the mob's grill and firing their close range Bone Spear isn't good. And the same thing goes for Blood Nova. You want your Simulacrum guys to be right on top of you so you can get that crazy AoE damage in one concentrated location. So while you're trying to kill a giant group and they're off, trying to kill one single target mob, it's just like, it's almost not worth using. And we've also noticed, and I don't know if this is specific to PTR, and I don't really know how to test this even further than I have. We tried going to fight Ingyam, taking off basically anything that increase our damage based on range or anything like that. Popping Simulacrum and then porting away and firing Bone Spears. Our Bone Spear hits a lot harder than the Bone Spears that the Simulacrum guys are doing. And again, that doesn't seem to add up to me because the Simulacrums can cast mages at full power. But that's pretty much going to do it for the build guide, guys. As always, we'll leave a clear at the end of this video. Now, for these clears, based on the feedback from you guys, we've removed all Paragon but 800. But this thing flies through GR70. We're fully juiced up with the spares, and we fly through 75s in 3 minutes and under. While this build might not be as powerful as, say, Blood Mage, Singularity Speed, the Blight Spear build that we're about to show you guys, or Corpse Mancer, it's really, really good, and it's a ton of fun to play. And there's still a ton of room for this build to improve, and we could probably see those changes happen before PTR is over. But either way, we have a Bone Spear build that can do GR 70 to 75, which is just great. And that's going to do it for the video, guys. Hopefully you guys will have a lot of fun just razor teething everything in Diablo. And again, guys, it always helps to give thumbs up on the DFans builds. If you guys like the build, definitely head over there and give it a plus. As always, guys, like, subscribe, come over to Twitch, ask your questions, support us on Patreon. We love you guys. Peace out.
Has arrived. That needs to recharge.